before we get into the GB stuff, we wanted to touch upon the Under-19's regional league that kicked off last weekend, if memory serves. We had SGS versus Scotland, and SGS ended up coming out 26-0 winners there. And we've got, in a couple of weeks, certainly clashing with your game in Sweden that weekend, we've got South versus SGS and then Scotland versus North that same weekend. We'd love to get your thoughts kind of on this regional league to start off with, because it's obviously something that was piloted a few years ago, and now it's here, and it's now bringing in every Under-19's player from around the country to get involved in a format that they wouldn't normally get involved with. So must be something that you're keen to see, and obviously you've got a keen interest in the Midlands Mighty Oaks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Sam Stoddart and Verity have done is really, really good in terms of pulling it all together. I think previously it was just like individual strands, and they've done a really good job of kind of bringing it all and making it more professional and putting some real weight and gravitas behind it. I've been up and down the country over the last few years and watching Under-19 football at different levels, whether it's in the Midlands or whether it's in the North or in Scotland or wherever. There's lots of good, passionate athletes, coaches around, but don't have the opportunity to, whether it's geographical location, whether it's facilities, to have the ability to play 11s. I think by having this all-star system is a really good thing. I think back to my days at university as a player. Some of my favourite opportunities to play was in the university all-star game, where you get to meet people who you bang heads with on Sundays on the regular, and then you come together and find out that you're not too dissimilar after all. And I've still got lots of friends who I competed against back then, who I'm still in touch with now. And I think this all-star thing, particularly for those under-19 athletes who are growing the game, who are going to be the future of our game, it's really good for them to be part of something bigger than their club teams. It's not going to replace the clubs. It's not going to replace under-19s or under-17s or any sort of national programme. It's a good thing to accentuate their offer and their opportunities to grow as athletes and as individuals as well.
And I interviewed Sam Stoddart in the preview to the series kicking off, and what he was most excited about was those that are graduating under-16s this year, because if this series sticks around, and there's no reason why it wouldn't, but if it does stick around, these under-16s will have at least 9, maybe more, under 11v11 games under their belt by the time they hit adult leagues or your program in particular. So that can only benefit at least your program going forward as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it benefits every single aspect of British American football. It develops, it benefits the local teams because their players and coaches are going to go away to an all-star camp essentially, and they're going to come back as better players and better coaches, we like to think. It allows players to push themselves and challenge themselves, and also prepares them for that next step, whether it's GB level competition, whether it's university competition. We need to do a really good job of challenging and developing our young athletes and coaches for that matter. And to do it in this environment, looking at the coaches around the league, some very good coaches involved, and it's just a really, really good thing. I don't see any negatives. I think when we look back at it and kind of review the processes, I think there's going to be some things where we can perhaps work and develop a little bit more. But I know how hard Verity and Sam have worked on this project, and it's great to see that finally the fruits of their labour is now coming out. And it's a great game last week between Filton and Scotland, and I know next week and next few weeks there's going to be more games, and they'll be really exciting. I'll be hopefully around for the Midlands games. I've had to change some of the scheduling because of availability of coaches and players, but yeah, it's an exciting thing. It's just a win-win-win. And again, it's all about what we should be doing in British American football, is developing the sport, developing the athlete, developing the coach.
Presumably,
it sort of widens that. It sort of widens that bottom of the participation pyramid, doesn't it? And that only then feeds up sort of higher up into the top echelons, the sort of the elite performance, shall we say. So yeah, it just sort of benefits the wider game from all sorts of aspects, as you say, players, coaches. We won't call them administrators, will we? We'll call them general managers.
Yeah.
It's a bugbear of Aaron, so we'll get it in while he's not here. But yeah, it just develops that growth mindset that we need in our sport, and helps develop the skills and hone in the skills, providing people work together, that is, to make sure that we continue to develop the sport going forward.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, and it's the first year of the process, and it's been, from what I can see, I was kind of around the Midlands practice last week, kind of dovetailing with the national programme, and what I saw was lots of really talented athletes there, lots of really driven, passionate coaches, and when those two things meet, it can only be a positive thing for both the people involved directly and the sport as a whole.
Yeah, brilliant. So really looking forward to seeing how the U19's develops, and certainly we'll be looking forward to kind of looking back with a couple of the people that are involved and seeing what they get out of the cycle at least.